Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. Now, this is a video for anyone who's either currently got a job or is looking to transition into tech. If you haven't seen my last video, it basically goes off of all the benefits as to why you might want to move to tech. So whether you're trying to transition into tech or you're just looking for your first job in tech, we'll be going over the top in-demand tech jobs for career changes, and also the skills that are needed with each one. So as we all know, tech is constantly growing and changing over time, and no one day is the same. And there are plenty of opportunities for those who have the right skills to move into different jobs within tech. So if you don't know already, I'm Callum. I'm a software tester, and I haven't been working in the industry that long. I've been working for around a year, and I'm still kind of finding my footing in tech and learning new things about my job every day. So without further ado, let's dive in. Right, so in the world of tech, I think we should just go over first of all the general jobs that are available, and I'll just name them out. Hopefully there'll be something in there that you know, but I also think for maybe some of the more non-technical users, there might be some jobs in here that you don't know, and having them explained will help potentially open new ideas for what you might want to go into. So first off is help desk technician. The next is software engineer or software developer. This is probably one of the more technical roles. Next is a project manager. Further to this, we have a software tester. Last but not least on the list, we have IT support and leaning into kind of system administration. So yeah, now you have an overall view of all the things that we'll be covering. Let's first go ahead and dive into the help desk technician. So this may not sound like the most attractive job, but I would honestly say that this is probably one of the best ways, if you don't have a related degree in computer science or maths, say, to get into the role and the world of tech. A technician who operates under the help desk is a key person in operations supporting the customers with the use of the software. A key aspect of this role is troubleshooting software and problems that the customer might come to you with. And so help desk technicians must be able to diagnose problems and come up with possible solutions for the customer so that they can continue operating the software and getting the most use out of it as possible. The day-to-day issues that actually might occur are probably going to relate to hardware, software, or network connectivity problems. Under the guidance of help desk managers, they'll usually be required to also create troubleshooting documentation so that they're aware of the most common problems and how to quickly get them sorted and fixed. Not only this, but escalating issues. So within meetings between the dev team and possibly the quality assurance team, it's vital that a help desk technician relays and communicates if there's any bugs that are likely to have been found. So general skills that are kind of needed for this job is certainly, I'd say, an eye for detail and strong analytical problems. You're going to be facing problems day to day, and you need to be able to make quick decisions on what the most likely cause of the problem is and whether to escalate it or not with other departments. And having a skill to understand whether this problem has been derived from human error or is actually a software error and should be raised is critical. So next up we have software developer or software engineer. And for those of you who are maybe a little less technical and don't know these terms yet, if I talk about software developer or software engineer, they're generally regarded as the same thing, and all it means is that someone who codes, someone who programs, that would be the base of their work. Now, software developers are constantly in demand, but side note, if you're looking to become a software developer, I would recommend you start off by learning web-based technologies such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. These languages and learning these skills are going to make it so much more easier to become a general full-stack software developer. And the general consensus is that these web-based technologies are far easier to learn than any other programming languages, so I'd recommend you start learning those skills in particular. The role of a software developer can really vary based on your company and what technologies you're working with. However, some of the main points that I would definitely pick up on that a software developer does: build the product, maintain the software, and further its functionalities. Now, it's highly likely that if you're going to be a software developer, you're going to be coming in maintaining someone else's code that was kind of written before you. Software developers will need to do their own testing, but have high communication skills between the QA department, so quality assurance, and generally maintaining the repo or the code base of the company. The skills for software developers take a range of many, but like the last one, strong analytical problems, and furthermore, I'd really say exceptional problem-solving skills. And so now moving on to the role of project manager. To go a bit more in depth, the project manager will be responsible for managing technical projects that are currently live and within circulation. This means making sure that the projects are completed on time and done within budget. And also a greater factor that you should be thinking about as a project manager should be the right technical solutions. And further to this, staying current with technology trends. This leads me on nicely to saying that the project manager should have awareness of industry standards and making sure that the project follows those industry standards with whatever industry you're working within. So that might be within TV or networking for an Xbox or something along those lines. There'll be industry standard implementations that are followed by all companies doing this software, and it's their responsibility to make sure that these are implemented and used in the correct way. Another maybe less well-known responsibility of the project manager is managing the product and development life cycle as you go through what are called sprints. This is a quick sidetrack, but to give you some background, sprints are basically short periods of intensive work done within technology that usually last over 2 or 3 weeks, but they really can vary from even a week, say. It just depends what goals and targets you're set and what you're trying to get done. As well as this, the project manager should be focusing on the teams that design and implement it and go about testing it, and finally see the deployment and closure of the project. I'd say certainly the top skill that comes to mind for a project manager: excellent communication and collaboration. You want all your sub-teams to be working in tandem and getting the right information on time, making sure that you can get that continuous delivery for customers and their software product. So moving on, now the next role is something that I'm very excited to talk about because it's what I do, and that is a software tester or QA engineer, quality assurance. In my opinion, software testers are there as a tool for software developers to help them find the bugs and test the software. Day-to-day tasks of a software tester could be manually testing the software, so actually going through, clicking a button, making sure it responds right, testing what happens if you enter a wrong password on a website, or if you submit a form on a website with nothing in it, or all numbers as a username. From my experience, there is endless amounts of testing to be done on the software product, and it never truly ends, which is why you've got to kind of be a little resilient, and you've got to kind of stick up for yourself and get to know the product. That is one thing that I'd say makes a good software tester, is that if you can get to know the product and you can get really excited and engrossed about it and learn all it has to offer, then when something crops up, you might be asked your professional opinion on it, and you can say, well, actually in my experience, when I've been testing at this, when I've been using it, this is how I would have thought it should operate. And so kind of leading on to that, the good skills that are required for a software tester is certainly clear communication and the ability to have good analytical skills. Other day-to-day tasks might be writing automation scripts, so actually getting a bit of coding in so you can automate your job and have tests run automatically. That is part of what I mentioned earlier for the continuous delivery, so that no time is wasted not trying to find bugs that are there. So yeah, writing up bug reports, communicating in meetings on the requirements, and making sure that you're writing your test cases and your test scenarios with different inputs of data. It's certainly something that I think you get better over with time, and it's one of those jobs that I feel it's actually maybe one of the easiest to transition into. So moving on, the next one is IT support or a administrator. Like with a help desk technician or software tester, I believe an IT support technician or administrator is a good first step in the door to opening up the world of technology. I personally know quite a few people that used to be IT support technicians and then moved on to become software testers. Some of the day-to-day jobs you can kind of expect from an administrator is managing of accounts and the software that your company uses for the domain and networking policies. Maybe also beneficial that you learn cloud infrastructure, so stuff like Microsoft Azure or the Microsoft Active Directory. Those are really good skills to have in kind of leaning towards like cloud computing that are now generally used to manage IT infrastructure. The 3 skills I think are certainly going to be required for this job are knowledge in your hardware of computers, so not just the software, but kind of knowing the ins and outs of the CPUs and RAM and the components that go into a PC. Next, as I just mentioned, the software, so whether that be using Linux OS or Windows or Mac OS, whatever OS the company uses, you're going to want to be fluent in that, whether that be operating the actual computer through the UI or even through the command line or terminal. And now, last but not least, you're going to be wanting to look into some cloud skills. As I said, mostly now with IT and administrators, it's all done through services in the cloud like Microsoft that we hosted, like Microsoft Active Directory or just Microsoft Cloud. And as well as this on the side, you're certainly going to want to know networking. So there you have it, some of the top in-demand tech jobs for career changers. Each of these jobs are fairly flexible, and as long as you learn the skills, these jobs offer great career growth opportunities. And as you progress, I think it becomes clearer as to what direction you want to head in. Personally, I know software testers that have gone to be software developers. I know help desk assistants that have gone on to be software testers. There's great interchangeability, I think, within tech, as long as you have the right skill set for it. And as long as you're in the right company that promotes this, you should be able to gain the skills and move into your preferred profession. I hope this video has been useful, and if you have any other questions or comments, please leave them below. But for now, wherever you are, have a nice rest of the day, and I'll see you in the next video.